let's go and have a look at what we have prepared tonight from Teacher Dale, who did prepare this lesson for us. So shout out to Teacher Dale. Thank you so much for doing that for us. And I'm going to lead you through tonight's lesson from him. So we are doing our revision on finance, and we're looking at financial documents. Okay. So I just want to let you or remind you or draw your attention to the fact that in this section, in the matric exam especially, but also for the grade 10s and grade 11s, guys, you could be given a variety of different documents in this section. Okay, so what this covers, all right, is the following types of documents that you could be given. So you could be asked to look at things like a bank statement. You could be looking at a budget. You could be looking at things like a what else could we be looking at? You could be looking at a credit card statement. You could be looking at, so all these different things. You could be looking at a tariff statement. You could be looking at an invoice that you've received. So you could be looking at a variety of different financial documents that you get given. Okay. I want you to remember that this, with Maths Lit, the most important thing is that you need to put yourself into real life situations. If you're getting answers that are way out there, that don't seem realistic, okay, you need to go back and put yourself back into real life and say to yourself, does this seem like something that maybe my parents would be dealing with, or my grandparents would be dealing with, or something that I would be dealing with in the home? All right. So if you're getting like weird figures, or the interest rates are huge, or anything like that, I want you guys to put yourself back into a real life situation and to think about, okay, does this seem realistic? Is this something that would be happening in real life? That's the question you're going to be asking yourself all the time when you're dealing with finance. Okay, so I always want you to be thinking about those sorts of questions. All right. Often with students, they're doing finance and they're just like, oh, well, it's just like every other question. No, okay, we're dealing with money here, so we want it to be realistic. All right. So in this question, Mrs. Chan, a teacher from Brakpan, received a monthly statement from GEMS. So GEMS is the Government Employee Medical Scheme. It's like a medical aid, kind of like Discovery, or what are the medical aids? Discovery, GEMS is another one. But yeah, all different medical schemes. Discovery is the only one that's coming to my brain at the moment. Sorry, guys. Okay, so as shown in Annexure A. So they're going to give us, all right, some additional information here. Okay, now, in the matric exam, all right, or maybe in your trial paper, your prelim paper, or for grade 10s, grade 11s, they could have even given you like an extra piece of document where you had all your annexures separate, all right? What I always suggest to students is go and fetch that Annexure A. So they're talking about Annexure A, go and find that Annexure A straight away and put it next to where your question is so that you know what you're talking about. Mrs. Chang has one dependent, okay, her son Lee on her medical aid. All right, it's important that you understand what they're talking about when they're talking about dependent, guys. What does dependent mean? Dependent means that you are responsible to pay for this person. Okay, so dependent, you are responsible to pay for this person. So Lee is her son and he is on her medical aid. So she's not only paying for herself, but she's also paying for Lee, her son. All right. So we're going to look at this Annexure A, okay? We're going to break it down piece by piece before we just look at the whole document, because looking at the whole thing can sometimes be a little bit intimidating. So we've got GEMS, which is the medical aid. They've given us a member and they've given us the number. So that's normally who you represent on their side of things, your member number. Mrs. Chang is the name of the person who this medical aid belongs to. All right. They've given us a statement reference, the document reference as well. So you'll see that the statement reference, the document reference, two different numbers, okay? That's not normally very important unless they go and they ask you a theory-based question where they go and say, what's the statement reference? What's the document reference? All right. The date of this document is the 15th of the 12th, 2017. Thank goodness in South Africa, we read the dates normally. So we know that this means it's the 15th day of the 12th month, 2017. Okay. And it's statement number 187992. All right. We've been given transaction information, payment information, and then we've got some more columns here. So let's go read on. Now, when you go in to write your Mathematics exam, do not forget your ruler, okay? Because I would suggest going down the statement with a ruler. In the Mathematics exam, you often have quite a bit of time. I hate when I invigilate a Mathematics exam, walking around and seeing everybody finished at the end, there's an hour left to spare, and their head's on the table and they're sleeping. Don't do that. Take your ruler, go through the statement really carefully and make sure you understand line by line what it is saying to you. You've got the time, use the time. Okay. So, if we're looking at the transaction information, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger for us. So we're looking at parts of this in isolation. Okay. So we're looking at the transaction information first. What does it mean when you have a transaction? So it means kind of like you've walked into the store, right? You've walked into a shop, you've walked into Checkers, or you've walked into Dis-Chem or Clicks or whatever, and you've actually made a purchase or you've transacted with somebody. So you've made a purchase or they've made a sale. Okay, so it's something that's happened. All right. So first of all, you went to Dis-Chem Pharmacy, okay, to the chemist. All right. And here we go. So on the 8th of December, 2017, all right, Lee, who was the son, okay, so there he is, the patient. The tariff code, right, so what that means is what it represented on their side was acute. So maybe he had like some sort of medication and that's what they recorded it as. The amounts that we claimed from medical aid was 736 Rand and 90 cents. And where it says benefit approved, it doesn't have anything there. So it's blank. All right. So nothing in that column. Moving down. On the 8th of December 2017, we've got Lee going again. Okay. Under the tariff code, now we see a difference here. The previous one was acute. The next one says chronic. All right. Guys, those are medical terms. You need to know what the medical terms mean. All right, so those aren't important math things. Don't get hung up on those, okay? But we just need to see that there has been a difference here in the details. This time it's 173 Rand and 3 cents. But under benefits approved, now we see 173 Rand and 3 cents. And underneath where it says scheme paid to supplier, we see 173 Rand and 3 cents. So in other words, if we make this a little bit bigger, all right, okay, the very first one, we see that this 736 Rand 90 didn't have anything being approved. There was nothing being paid by the supplier. It didn't say anything that was paid to the member. It didn't say anything that the member owes the scheme, but it does say that there was a number code there, which we're going to go back and we're going to have a look at just now. For this one, okay, for this next one, it said that the scheme, and the scheme is Gems, they paid the actual supplier. Who is the supplier? The supplier was Dis-Chem. All right. Moving down. Again, we see Lee. So Lee, who is the dependent, okay, he's claiming for more chronic medication. Another amount claimed. The benefits approved it once again. The scheme is paying the supplier. Chronic medication, once again, we see the same thing happening. Claiming from the medical aid, being approved, the scheme paying the supplier. Same thing again for Lee, all right, all on the same day. Same thing again for Lee, all on the same day. All right, so at this point, I want to just draw our attention. I want to go have a look at what this code was for 9505. So let's go have a look at 9505. All right, 9505 says pre-authorization was required. So in other words, okay, that payment of 9505, the reason why the medical aid didn't pay it out was because we needed to get pre-authorization, which we didn't do, so the medical aid didn't pay it out. All right, moving down. There was a payment that needed to be made to Dr. Dlamini. All right, he's a general practitioner, i.e. a doctor. So moving down, again, it was for Lee on that same day. So maybe he'd gone to the doctor and then this doctor had prescribed the information. I mean, not the information, prescribed the medication. Okay, so Lee, he saw the doctor. Okay, there's a tariff code there. The amount paid was 343 Rand. All right, if we go and have a look, it says member paid or owes the supplier. In other words, GEMS, okay, is not going to pay that amount. Who owes that amount? The member. How much do they owe? 343 Rand, and they're telling us to get more information on that, go see point 870. And then we see Lee went back to the doctor the next day. Okay, we've got another code there, 102 Rand, and once again, he needs to pay the supplier. All right, so if we go and have a look at those codes, so 870, it tells us that overall the limit was exceeded. So obviously Lee went to the doctor too many times, he exceeded the limits. If we've got a summary, okay, so a summary of the financial information, so how much is payable to the member? So how much does this medical aid owe us? They owe us zilch, 0. Less, how much is owed to the scheme? Okay, so how much is it that we owe the medical aid? We don't owe them anything. We've paid them everything to date. And finally, how much does the member, how much do we, so Miss Lamini, I'm sorry, not Miss Lamini, so Lee's mom, okay, how much does Mrs. Chan, how much does she need to pay the supplier? So it's these two amounts here, which they added up nicely for us. It's that amount over there. It says tax claimable to date. So how much can I claim from tax? And they've totaled it for us. All right. Let's have a look at our questions. So before we have a look at those questions, I would suggest go take a screenshot of that statement. So it's all nice, it's on the page, it's all together. So you've got it there. This is a really great opportunity for you to take a screenshot of that statement. There it is, it's all together. You can have it there for yourself. So you can go back, you can answer these questions at a later stage. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at question 1. Question 1 says, which month is covered by this statement? Okay, I don't mind if you guys don't want to raise hands and tell me, okay, but in the chat, thank you, Ben. Well done. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So we said this month was December. How did we get that? We saw with the date earlier on. So can you see when you actually go down and you break the statement down with your ruler, you've answered half the questions already. Okay. So we saw which month was covered by the statements. December. Okay, I want you to note here, look at the mark indication. It's 2 marks. Okay, so to make sure that we're getting our full marks, guys, I know that it doesn't ask us for the year, but when we're wanting to be really thorough, okay, let's make sure that we're being really, really thorough and we're giving them a full and complete answer. We know that this was December. What year was it? It was December 2017. Okay, so because we're wanting to be really thorough, we see it's for 2 marks. Okay, normally 1 mark December, that would be for 1 mark. Because it's for 2 marks, December 2017. Always make sure you're taking note of your mark allocation as well. Next question. Okay. state why the member had to pay 445 rand 10 cents to the supplier. So state why the member had to pay that amount to the supplier. All right, we did speak about it just now. I highlighted this code for you guys. So I highlighted that code. Is there anyone who wants to maybe explain it to us? Raise their hand and explain it, or anyone who wants to tell us in the chat? Anyone who wants to go over it again? Explain why? I'll give you a hint there. It does say overall limit exceeded. Okay. Somebody exactly here. It's the total amount. Okay, Ben. Cool. All right. So therefore, James did not pay the supplier means the member must pay. Good. Well done, Phoebe. All right. So what happens is sometimes medical aid, just like with this medication that they paid for, okay, the medical aid will give you a certain amount of money to go see the doctor, okay? Or they'll give you like a certain amount of visits to go see the doctor. All right. But in this case, what did we see? What did we see with this code, this 870? We saw that the overall limit was exceeded. Okay, the overall limit was exceeded. So why did the member have to pay that amount to the doctor? The member had to pay that amount to the doctor because they had exceeded their overall amounts. So state why the member had to pay that to the supplier. We can say Mrs. Chang. We want to be really fancy and give a proper answer. All right. Or you can just call her the member as well. But because we know her name, let's give a proper answer. We can say Mrs. Chang had exceeded her overall limits and therefore had to pay the doctor from her own funds. Okay, I'm going to show you where the marks would be so that if you haven't put this long sentence like I've just put, okay, where you would still get marks. All right, so as long as you spoke about the fact that she had exceeded her overall limits, so you would get 1 mark, okay? And as long as you spoke about the fact that she needed to pay the doctor herself, that's where you would get 2 marks. All right, so you don't have to have the exact same words as me. You guys know that from Maths Lit, all right? Grade 10s and 11s, please remember that as well, okay? You don't have to have the exact same wording as your teacher on the board every single time, or what's in the mark allocation, okay, the memos, all right? But as long as, okay, you've got some kind of idea, all right, some sort of very similar wording, then you can get your marks. And in this case, as long as you've spoken about exceeding overall limits, and as long as you've spoken about paying for own funds. Ma'am, I think you mean supplier instead of doctor. You can say supplier. That's absolutely correct. Yes, I'm saying doctor because I knew that Dr. Dlamini M. Doctor is a doctor. That's why I said doctor. But you can also absolutely, Boheng, you are right. You can say supplier as well. Absolutely. You are completely right. If you'd said supplier, you will also get the full marks there. Okay. All right. Let's have a look at the next question. All right, so it says, write down the name of the general practitioner visited. So we know it gave us the name there. It said Dlamini M.Dr. All right, so Dlamini, oopsie daisy, I don't want to write in red. Oh, that's a harsh color. Okay, guys, I want to make sure I get the name right. So, Dlamini, MDR. Dlamini, MDR. Okay. General practitioner. A general practitioner is also known as a doctor as well. All right. Now they're going to come in here and they're going to go and throw in a little bit of a maths question here. So they're going to deviate a little bit. They're going to go on a little side road here, okay, from what we've been doing in finance, and they're going to throw in a little bit of maths. All right, so let's go have a look. They say, all right, calculate the new price of the acute medication under the tariff code if the price increased by 6.3%. So calculate the new price of the acute medication under the tariff code, okay, if the price increased by 6.3%. So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to have a look at that. Okay, take a screenshot again of that. So calculate the new price of the acute medication. Okay, I want you to have a look at that question, take a screenshot of it because it's a really nice one. Okay, nice question. And then I'm going to move the question paper up for you so you can have a look. Okay. So calculate the price of the acute medication, right? I'm going to make the screen a bit bigger so you can see that acute medication price. Okay. If the price increased by 6.3%, guys, if it increased by 6.3%, I think I'm going to make it a little bit better for you because I know in the exam, if this was your exam, of course you'd have highlighters or different color pens, or you'd have your ruler, or you'd be able to go and you'd be able to mark this. So I'm going to go mark it for you. There's that acute medication price. Okay, you need to increase it by 6.3%. All right. Tando, of course you can ask a question. Just raise your hand. Otherwise, you should be able to unmute yourself. Otherwise, you can raise your hand and then I can unmute you. I can't see you on my screen.
Good day, ma'am.
Hi, Tando. What's up?
How are you, ma'am?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. What's up?
Can you please explain for me, because I was just looking in right now.
Sure.
A little bit, please.
So did you only join the class right now is what you're saying, Tando?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So I'm just going to go and do this quick. All right. So Tando, I'm really sorry that you were slightly late for the class. We're just looking at, I just muted you because there's a bit of feedback on your side. We're looking at this member statement, okay? And we're answering the questions. So we're doing revision on finance. All right. And then just a reminder for everybody, guys, even if you come into class late, or let's say you miss a lesson, don't forget that every single lesson of Watobe is recorded. All the recordings are available on Watobe's website, and they're also available on YouTube. Normally, what's really cool is that they're actually normally available like literally the next day, okay? If not the next day, then like maybe even like 2 days later. All right. I think somebody else has their mic unmuted. Is there somebody else who's looking for a question? No? All right. So I'm going to go and put the link here for you guys. That's what you were hearing, that sound there. So I'm putting the link for Watobe's channel for YouTube in the chat for you as well. So in case you did arrive late for the lesson, or in case you don't know where to go find it, that's where you can actually get access to Watobe's channel. So if you want to go back and you want to look at previous lessons, guys, and you're not sure of where to find it, that's actually the link to get to Watobe's YouTube channel. Go have a look there. It's really easy to find the Mathlet lessons on there as well. It's really cool. It's a really nice way to do it. Somebody in one of the other classes was saying, oh, ma'am, well, if it's all on the lessons, like, why do I have to come to live class? And the reason why is because you can go and you can ask questions in live class. Some people try ask questions on YouTube as well, but there's no teacher to answer your question, guys. So, yeah. All right, let's go have a look. So this medication was 730 Rand 90. I'm going to go do it two different ways for you guys here. All right. I'm sure that you were more than capable of doing it. I'm seeing quite a few answers in the chat, so well done. All right. Oh, guys, my memory is so shocking. 736 Rand 90. Let me write that down. 736 Rand 90. Okay. So there's two different ways you can do this. All right. Okay. So either if you've got like one of those fancy scientific calculators, okay, whatever, all right, you can literally go and you can say on your calculator 736 Rand 90 times by 6,3% or plus 6,3%. So let's do plus, not times, sorry. Plus 6,3%, and it gives you Rand 783 Rand and 33 cents. Okay. In most cases, that works out. In most cases, it does. Okay. In most cases, it does. Oh, hold on. I'm seeing a rounding issue here. Let me check on my calculator. I'm trusting the chat, Miss Kia, but I'm not actually checking it out myself. Yo, guys, I got so much faith in you tonight. I'm not actually doing the sum here. Let's go check. So 736.9 times 1.0. Oh, 736.9. 783. Oh, I'm so sorry. My rounding is wrong. Look at that. Comma 2. So well done to those of you who got it. Okay. All right. So in most cases, all right, the calculator will work that out and it'll do it properly. And okay, but in some cases, the calculator is having a bad day. All right, and the calculator doesn't do that correctly. Okay, the calculator goes and does something weird, exactly like Tando's calculator did there. All right, Tando, your calculator has done exactly what most calculators do. It does a weird thing. It has a meltdown. All right, so what is the correct way to do this so that you're not getting meltdown figures? Guys, doing it this way, okay, you're going to get meltdown figures. So please be careful. All right. What is the correct way to do it? The correct way to do it is as follows. Okay. We're going to go and we're going to take that amount, 736.90. 736,9. If we want to show all our workings, then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to times this, all right, by 6,3%. Now in maths, when we want to show a percent, remember we're going to times by 6,3 over 100 equals. So that's the first step. First, we're going to find out what is 6,3% of that amount. So 639.9 times 6,3 over 100. And it gives me 46, I'm going to do it without all the rounding off first. It gives me 46,6137. Okay. All right. It's not my final answer yet. That's why I haven't rounded off. I know some of you are going to be like, but ma'am, the rounding. I'm going to round off. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm going to get there. All right. Now, it's increased by that amount. So it must mean that I need to add it. Okay. So I'm going to go say 739,9 plus, I see someone is telling me in the chat that my figure is wrong. Let's go see. 6137. Let me go recalculate. 739. Let's go double check. Oh my goodness, you are right. Told you guys, my memory is terrible. This is 736. 736, 9 times 6, 3 over 100. Thank you for helping me out there. Just checking to see if you're still awake in my lesson, that no one's fallen asleep yet. 4, 2, 4, 7. That's much better, hey? All right, so plus 4, 6, 4, 2, 7. Okay. All right. When I add those two figures together, what's going to happen? 7399. I get 786, 3, 2, 4, 7. Okay, I'm going to take you back a little bit. I'm going to take you back to grade 7, maybe grade 8 maths, and take you back to some rounding. When we're rounding off, it's money. All right, so I'm going to round this off to money. I'm going to say 786, money needs to have 2 decimal places. So because money needs to have 2 decimal places, all right, what's going to happen? All right, I am looking at the second, well, that's not going to help us, it's not dark enough. I'm looking at the second decimal place, so that's 2, okay? And to look at the second decimal place, I need to look at the number that lies right next to that, okay? So I'm ignoring the number that's next to it, okay? I'm ignoring that next number, all right? And I'm looking at the one that's right next to that 2. Okay, that one is a 4. Because it's a 4 and it lies below the 5, it means that this is going to stay exactly the same. All right. Okay, guys, you are right. I have not added correctly because I didn't fix it. Thank you. Again, just testing your maths, testing to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. Apologies. Okay, so let's fix it quickly. Oh, Miss Kirsty, 736, 9 plus 46, 4247. This is right. You are right. This is a 3. That's a 3, and that should be a 3. Apologies. There we go. All right. Okay, I heard that some of you got a really good revision of rounding, because I think that maybe your rounding was a little bit off. All right, I heard that you've remembered how you can actually do that, okay, when you actually increasing by something. I'm going to show you a quick cheat way to do it. So that's the proper way to do it. That's the way to do it so that you get all your marks. Guys, a quick cheat way to do it, a very quick cheat way to do it in maths, is you can go and you can say 736, 9. When I want to increase something in finance or in maths or in accounting, you're going to say times by 1 comma, and my percentage is 63, so it's going to be 1,063 equals, and when you put that on your calculator, it'll give you 783,32. Okay, so if it was by increasing it by 5%, you would say times by 1,05. If it was increasing it by 10%, you would say times by 1,1. If it was increasing it by 60%, you would say times by 1,6. But that's just a cheat way to do it, okay? The proper way to do it, where you're going to get your full marks, is by doing it here. So 1 mark for timesing by 6,3 over 100, okay? 1 mark for adding the 46,47 and 46,427, and this mark here is a method mark. So whatever you got above, you're going to get a method mark for that one. And finally, a method mark for your final answer. But you're only going to get the method marks, guys, if you show you're working. So make sure that you show you're working the whole way through. All right. Okay, next question, number 5. Calculate the total amount of tax claimable in the previous statements if the tax claimable is the amount paid by the member directly to the supplier. Right. So, in other words, here was the tax claimable paid to date. So this is the amount that they can claim to date. Okay. All right. That amount is all the money from the whole year that the member has paid to the suppliers. So they're saying they want to know in the previous statement, what was that figure before? What was that figure before? So to get to this number, what would we have had? We would have had the figure from before plus this month's statement amount. So this month's amount, which was this figure over here, would have given us the tax claimable to date. Okay, so how am I going to calculate what it was last month? That's what they want to know. How am I going to calculate what the tax claimable to date was last month? Who's got an idea? Who can tell me? How can I calculate what it was last month, guys? How do we calculate what that was last month? Tell me, tell me. I don't want to make any mistakes, so come on, give me an idea of what I can do. Anyone got an idea? What do you think? Okay, what do you think? All right. Let's have a look. All right, so if to get this month's statement, we took balance from last month, okay, and then we added, well done, guys, thank you, well done. Okay, so I'm going to show everybody how you guys got that. Well done. So we took the balance from last month, we added, okay, the amounts paid to suppliers, and that gave us the tax claimable here. All right, so if we go look, the tax claimable was 5326, 5326, 66. All right. The amount that we added was 445 rand and 10 cents. 445 rand and 10 cents. So what they're looking for is they want to know, how do you get that figure over there? So your classmates have said to me, I need to subtract to get to this figure here. All right, so I need to go say, okay, I need to go and say 5,326 rand and 66 minus 445 rand and 10 cents. And that will give me, thank you so much for those people who've done it for me, 4,881 rand and 56 cents. Okay. Be careful if you're getting negative figures, guys. If you're getting negative figures, you've got a small problem because you know you can never really have negative money. Okay, so be careful with that. Unless you're dealing with bank statements, you could have a negative balance because then you know you've got overdraft. All right. So define the term debit within the context of this statement. So what does it mean if the balance has a debit? Define the term debit within the context of this statement. Let's go and have a look. Where did we see the words debits? Earlier on, we went and we saw the word debits. I'm going to go highlight it for you in a different color. There it was over there. It said less amount owed to scheme debits. Okay. So what does it mean, right, when we've got a debit in this statement? Okay, what does it mean when we've got a debit in this statement? All right, in this statement, does it make sense when I say to you guys that if a figure is in debit, it means that the Mrs. Chang owes money to the scheme. So if the figure is in debit, it means that Mrs. Chang, okay, owes money to the scheme because it says owed to scheme. All right, so we're going to say, define the term debit. Mrs. Chan would owe money, but not only to the scheme, because we saw earlier on that it was to the scheme or it could be to a supplier. So we could say that Mrs. Chang would owe money. Done. End of the question. So when something is in debit on the statement, it means that Mrs. Chang owes money. Finished. Done. 2 marks. Where would we get our 2 marks? We would get our 2 marks by saying that Mrs. Chang and that she owes money. Right. Show how the total amount of 749 Rand 75 was calculated. So show how the total amount of 749 Rand 75 was calculated. Let's go have a look. Oh dear. 749 Rand 75. Let's highlight that for you guys so you can see where they are talking about. There it is over there. So they want to know, how did they calculate that? Where did that figure come from? Okay, well, what can we see, guys? That's like a total for a column, is it not? 479 Rand 75. There it is, 479 Rand 75. It's coming from this column over here. So what would we need to go and do? We need to show them how they calculated that. How do you show them that they calculated that? Okay, how do you show them that they total the column? You're just going to show them how to add the figures. Thank you, Kabir. You're going to show them that they added the figures. Thank you, guys. All right, so let's go and calculate those quickly. I am going to go and cheat just a little bit. I'm going to go and take a screenshot of those while you guys go and add them nicely. All right. So I'm going to go and add them because they're so high up on my page. All right. And you guys have already seen how bad my memory is. My goodness. Couldn't even remember from the top of the page to the bottom of the page. Okay. So let's take a screenshot of that for you. All right. Insert that there for you. All right. Bring that down to the bottom for you. Okay, so we need to add those figures because how did they get to that? They needed to add all those figures together. All right, so we're going to go and say 173 Rand 03 plus 117,44 plus 61 Rand 50 plus 80,98 plus 46 Rand 80 will give me 479 rand, 75. Do you need to do it in columns? No. Do you need to literally, I don't know, print out your calculator? No. You just need to show them that they added those figures together. Okay. All right, matrics and grade 10s and 11s who might be joining us tonight. Do we have any questions? Any questions about this statement? Any questions about medical aids? Any questions about, I don't know, how they might mark something, or matric exams for maths lit, or anything like that? Okay, I see we have a question. Hello, how can I help?
Good evening, ma'am. How are you doing, ma'am?
Good evening. I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
I'm good, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I was hoping if you could please go over question 4 again. I didn't understand it.
Of course.
Yes,
Let's have a look
please.
at question 4. Sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's go have a look. Okay. So in question 4, they've said to us, calculate the new price, okay, of the acute medication, all right, if the price increased by 6.3%, hey? Okay, so there was an increase of 6.3%. So this was the price of the acute medication. Where did I get that price from? I went and got it from the statement. Are you good with finding that on the statements? All right, I think so. Okay, so I think maybe you've muted yourself again. Don't stress. That was from the statement. That's where we got it from. Now we need to increase that by 6.3%. So just a reminder, in maths, when we've got a percentage, we're going to times that by 6.3 over 100, okay? Another way that you could do that on your calculator, right, is you could say times by, right, 0.063. So that's another way to do it on your calculator. Or another way to do it on your calculator is you could literally say 6.3%. If you have one of those like fancy schmancy scientific calculator kind of vibes, or just one of those like old school nice little calculators, it even does it as well. All right. But what you need to not do is you need to not say plus 6.3%, because if you say plus 6.3%, you're going to get a very different answer. So you need to be careful. Okay. All right. So when you do that, okay, you are left with an answer of, let me go do it on my calculator again quickly. So 736.9 times by 6.3%, it gives you 46.4247. All right, now that has increased by that amount. It hasn't increased to that amount or something like that. It's increased by. So in maths, when something is increased by 6.3%, it means that we then need to take that percentage and we need to add it to the original amount. Because it's kind of like, you know, when they say like milk is going to increase by 5%, or like tonight, petrol's increasing. So I hope for those of you guys who have cars, all right, that you've gone and put petrol in because petrol's increasing, guys. Okay, so they say the petrol price will increase by 20 cents a liter or 10 cents a liter. It means that they're taking whatever it is now, the ridiculous price of 21 Rand, 10 cents, I don't even know, and they'll make it like 21 Rand and 20 cents. So you're increasing it by that. You need to add it to the original amount. And when you do that, you left with plus 736.9, 783.3247. And then we looked at our rounding off. And I said that when we're rounding off, okay, we're rounding off to 2 decimal places here. So we're looking at the second decimal place. Okay, so I underlined that. And I said to do that, we go and we circle the one that comes immediately next to it. So then you ignore everything else that's after that. Okay, so we left with 783, comma, that's a 4, so it means that this is going to stay as 32. Right. Does that make sense? You should be able to unmute yourself. Oh, no. Okay. All right. I'm hoping that that makes sense. Okay. I'm hoping that you guys get that. All right, guys, what I'm going to do for you is that there is a second question for tonight, but we're not going to have time to go through it now. But I do want to just put it on the screen for you. Okay, awesome. I'm glad it makes sense. I do want to put it on the screen for you so that especially our matrics who I know are busy prepping for their finals, okay, can go, they can take a screenshot of it, all right, and that you guys can practice for this question. Okay, what can you use to help you get the answers? You can use Watobe Wizard if you're not sure. All right, do not sign out of the class yet because Kia needs you guys to fill in a poll at the end of this class. Okay, so make sure that you are still here because Kia's going to ask you to fill in a poll, guys. So I'm putting the question up for you. Okay, get answer the poll. Okay, please make sure you answer the poll. Matrix, I'm expecting you to take some screenshots of this question so that you guys especially can go and practice this question. You guys need all the practice you can get. So make sure, Matrix, that you're going to screenshot this question for me and go back and redo this question. Okay, in the meantime, everybody else go do the poll. All right, if you don't need this question, if you've got enough practice, you're more than welcome to head off. Thank you so much, everybody, Mathlet students. It's been wonderful having you tonight. Like Kia says, you guys have been amazing. Thank you very, very much. All right, I'm going to move down so that you've got the questions.